Another week, another celebrity, another lawsuit. This time it's Fat Joe. Let's talk about it. They 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 talk about it. Welcome back to She Could Talk the Podcast. I'm your host, Gangalee. Hey, and that's Gangalee on all streaming platforms. If you want to check out my music, look for the glasses, look for the locks. You tell me if I can rap or not, okay? But over here on YouTube, on She Could Talk the Podcast, this is where I react to everything. I react to news, sports, crimes, musicians, politicians, YouTubers, TikTokers. If they're talking about it, we're talking about it, okay? Okay. Now, this week, sad to say, another lawsuit has been dropped just as we were just as I was kind of getting over the Tyler Perry lawsuit that just dropped the week before, and of course the ongoing case that's coming to an end right now, Diddy. They're going to keep it up. It's another lawsuit against Fat Joe this time. He is the person in the hot seat this week. Well, this actually dropped on June 19th. So, me, I don't be the first one to rush to it. But, if I feel like it's something to react to, if it has my spidey senses tingling, I shall do so. So I've heard that it was one of his hype men, TS. It's going to show up here. But the person accusing him of the sex acts and exploitative behavior, basically used to work for him for 16 years, was a hype man, and has allegedly said that Fat Joe has, caused him to do some humiliating things, some different SA acts, some things with minors, and he's suing for $20 million. So let's get into it. But before I get right into the current lawsuit, what I wanted to also do, as I normally do, go down memory lane and take us down to a couple years ago. I would say this is Joey Crack right here. This is not Fat Joe. This is definitely Joey Crack from the BX, big Fat Joe, not the little one, right? And he's definitely still in them streets. I don't know about now. He's refined, he's, Miami, living a good life. I don't know. But he at one point was asked about Diddy's parties and if he attended and what his reaction was. So I thought it was funny in just the grand scheme of things. I'm not trying to paint any pictures here, but I wanted to go down memory lane and see what Fat Joe, we want to start there first with what he said about Diddy's parties back in the days.
Hard to say which is more off the hook, a Diddy party or a Diddy after party, or a Diddy after party, which is basically a pre-party for the next Diddy party. Puff Daddy is the king of deception.
Yeah.
Like Satan in the Bible.
Every time we was in the party, he was throwing his champagne, his vodka in every picture. He was so we didn't know. We like, he's a great guy. This is a great party. This is a great, give me your clothes. I'm gonna rock it in the video, yo. It's hard to say which is more off the hook.
Basically, at the end of that, he was saying that he had them feeling like, he was showing them love, but he was really marketing and branding. And he was like, give me the clothes. Let me drink the Ciroc. Let me, I'll rock your gear in my music video, etc. Cross-branded, cross-promoted. And I'll give that to Diddy. He was definitely the king of marketing and branding, in his time, in his day. But let's get back to Fat Joe and these new allegations.
A Diddy party or a Diddy after party, or a Diddy after party.
So that was that short that I found. So what I wanted to do here was I came across a few articles where they were kind of going into detail about the allegations in the lawsuit against Fat Joe, whose real name is Joey Cartagena. So it says here, Terrence T.A. Dixon. I knew his name was T.A. I think it's a T.S., but Terrence T.A. Dixon claims in a claimant obtained by People magazine that the rapper, whose real name is Joseph Cartagena, engaged in coercive labor exploitative financial fraud extral manipulation, the S word, violent intimidation, and psychological coercion. Dixon also alleges that he witnessed Cartagena have S words relationships with 15 and 16-year-old children, allegedly. A specific claim in the claim that alleges that the rapper would provide cash or pay for clothing and cell phone bills of a 16-year-old girl in exchange for, I don't know, head for a lack of a better word, and other SAs. The rapper emphatically denies the allegations in a statement through his attorney, Joey Tacopina, claiming Dixon's lawsuit is a blatant act of retaliation. So I just wanted to kind of read a little bit there. I'm not going to read all of it. It's definitely on People Magazine, it's online. But that was some of it there. So Terrence T.A. Dixon, he claims to have worked for Fat Joe for over 16 years. He was his hype man. He's helped him write music, allegedly, and he said he has not gotten paid for some of the songs he wrote for him. He has not gotten a lot of credit, production credits, etc. And in addition to the SA acts that he was forced to perform or witness, he's, suing for emotional damages and I guess punitive damages because of a lot of string of behavior over 16 years. 16 years is a long time to work for someone and to deal with that. He also said that he was out of the country and was stranded in the airport for a couple of days. And yeah, so see right here is like a 157-page lawsuit. And it was filed on June 19th in the Southern District of New York by Tyrone Blackburn. Now, fun fact, Tyrone Blackburn is also the guy who is defending or representing, I should say, Little Rod against a civil suit, I believe, against Diddy. And if you guys remember that deposition that Little Rod filed, and he named like a whole bunch of people in it, including 50 Cent's baby mother, Jane Doe, allegedly, and we thought that the deposition that Little Rod gave was inflated. I remember when I first heard it and came across it, I said, this sounds inflated. It sounds like BS. But now the hindsight is 2020, right? Going through all of this, hearing all of the stuff that's coming out, that's came out in the last couple of weeks during that Diddy trial is like, well, how how much more don't we know? Not, I don't want to know. Keep me out the group chat. But let's get back to these new set of allegations against Fat Joe. So he's saying here, now we're going to get into some news.
Rapper Fat Joe has been hit with an explosive $20 million lawsuit for allegedly coercing his ex-hype man into thousands of sexual acts. In a graphic 157-page lawsuit, Terrence T.A. Dixon accuses Fat Joe, whose legal name is Joseph Cartagena, of more than a decade of abuse. The details so disturbing that there's a big trigger warning in the red on the first page of that filing. Dixon.
So first of all, it's 157 pages. That's a trigger warning for me. Like if I was the other attorney or the judge in this matter that had to or even the legal secretary that had to kind of look through this, I'd be pissed. I'd be like 100, and it's some that's more than this. There's some that they bring in binders, but I would be upset, seriously, and then page after page of ratchet trife. But let's get back to it.
It alleges that in the lawsuit, Cartagena forced him to, quote, humiliating situations, including sex acts, performed under duress and surveillance. Dixon claims he personally witnessed Cartagena engage in sexual relations with girls as young as 15, one of whom Cartagena was allegedly in love with and contemplated leaving his wife for. An attorney for Cartagena says the lawsuit is a blatant act of retaliation. NBC's David Romo is on the story for us.
So, and I'm going to have to find that clip. But in the rant, guys, a couple of weeks back, I covered Remy Ma, Papoose, Clarissa, the digital divorce, the love triangle, and Papoose' rant on IG Live. Now, I just highlighted certain parts that I wanted to react to, but do you guys remember in the rant, he mentioned someone who was a rapper. He won't say their names. He's not calling them out. Who moved his mistress into an apartment around the corner from the house he shared with his wife and kids. And I believe he said Florida, allegedly. Don't hold me to that last part. But do y'all remember that? Word around these internet streets was he was, in fact, insinuating it was Fat Joe. And the reason why I say that is because in the deposition, the guy says or insinuate that Fat Joe had his mistress in an apartment around the corner from his family's house. Allegedly. So let's get back to it.
And Stephen, Cartagena initially sued Dixon, and now Dixon is suing Cartagena. Both sides are trading allegations here.
Yeah, a lot of allegations here, but the lawsuit filed today has a lot more graphic content, if you will, Tom. Cartagena actually sued Dixon back in April on allegations that, as a former employee, he was trying to extort him for money. Well, Dixon's suit that was filed today is a lot more than just a typical employment dispute. The complaint does accuse Cartagena of underpaying him, but it goes on with many more allegations, claiming Cartagena would bring women to hotel rooms and make Dixon have sex with them. Cartagena of underpaying.
I gotta pause it right here on this picture, because in me capturing, data to react to about this, I completely missed this one right here, and I'm watching it, and I missed this one. So reaction in the reaction in the reaction. So part of the deposition, 157 pages, stated that that Fat Joe allegedly wanted to, unalive 50 Cent, allegedly, and was keeping tabs on him at points in times on like where he was touring, where he was at, keeping heavy tabs on him at one point in time. So it's, I'm hoping they got over their indifferences, and maybe it wasn't even true, because the irony of this picture of them sitting together, it looks like courtside at a basketball game or something, right? And so very interesting that they would say that. But let's get back to it.
Him, but it goes on with many more allegations, claiming Cartagena would bring women to hotel rooms and make Dixon have sex with them in front of him and others. It also alleges that Cartagena would fly underage girls into the U.S. from Europe, and that he paid for plastic surgery for one of them.
And remember, everything I'm saying is alleged, and I'm just reacting to what I'm seeing and hearing.
And claimed that the minors were frequently cut off financially and discarded when they became non-compliant. Now, Cartagena's attorney claiming that those claims in this lawsuit are complete fabrications and lies, and saying, quote, "The lawsuit filed by Tyrone Blackburn and Terrence Dixon is a blatant act of retaliation, a desperate attempt to deflect attention from the civil suit we filed first." Of course, referencing that lawsuit originally filed back in April, Tom.
So we have another famous rapper being hit with a RICO charge, and we talked about Sean Diddy Combs' trial earlier in the newscast. He's also, of course, being accused of building a criminal empire here, and several of the people connected to this lawsuit have ties to other big cases, including Diddy's.
Yeah, a lot of the players involved have connections to these cases. Joe Tacopina representing Joe Cartagena. Of course, that's Fat Joe. He's also represented a lot of other big clients, including President Donald Trump, A$AP Rocky. And he actually turned down representing Sean Diddy Combs himself. And then we have Tyrone Blackburn there on the right, who is right now representing Dixon. But he is also representing music producer and rapper Lil Rodney in a separate case that is against Diddy. The lawsuit filed by Dixon is a civil RICO case, unlike Diddy's, which, of course, is a criminal RICO case. But there is a lot of crossover in these allegations here, Tom.
I agree. Just reading the deposition. So, first of all, Little Rod's attorney is the same attorney as T.S. Dixon, Terrence Dixon, who's suing Fat Joe. Their deposition reads like definitely the same person wrote it. But then also, in addition to that, they kind of ran into similar circles, just like the news reporter said. A lot of the players are similar on the legal side, plus on the, I guess, inside, the industry side. of everything. So this is very interesting. Now, do I believe this? I don't know. Like the way the stuff is going these days with everything and everyone, is just hard. It's hard to decipher like what's true, what's real, what's not these days. But it's definitely a witch hunt going on, guys. I will say that.
Head spinning, actually, Stephen. Thanks very much.
We thank you for watching. And
Fat Joe is denying allegations brought forth by his former hype man in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. After Terrence T.A. Dixon filed a complaint alleging that he witnessed the rapper groom, isolate, and sexually exploit minors while employed by his company, a lawyer for Fat...
And so, hear me out, guys. This is just the one thing I want to say. I've been saying this since R. Kelly days, when everybody was like, R. Kelly should go down. You know, remember the whole Surviving R. Kelly Lifetime, that documentary was scarring. But do you remember all of that, right? And, you know, everybody was like, witch hunt for R. Kelly. Like, R. Kelly needs to go to jail. I probably was one of the few people that was like, well, what about the other people that knew? You know what I'm saying? What about the people that curated the girls or the boys in some instances? What about the people that set up the candles and the cameras and the lighting? What about the people that cleaned the bathrooms? Right? And everyone would be like, oh, no, it's R. Kelly, it's R. Kelly. But like, for example, and I'm using R. Kelly for an example here because he was the first one in the long line of years to come of what we're looking at now. But I remember that Surviving R. Kelly documentary, there was a girl in there that said that R. Kelly would come up to the high school and he would bring his like security guards and, you know, everyone knew who he was. And his security guard or bodyguard or, I don't know, some guard would hand a girl R. Kelly's number or get the number from the girl for R. Kelly. So it wasn't never a direct, you know, in most instances, a direct like, yo, what up, baby? How you doing? Let me get your number. You hear me? It was curated. And then I was like, well, what's up with those people that were collecting these numbers and passing around and putting mattresses in the recording studio? What's up with them, right? So bring it up to Fat Joe. I have the same question still to this day, right? You were his hype man for 16 years. And don't get me wrong. Wrong is wrong. So if it really happened and there's some justice that needs to be served, then yeah, it needs to be served. But what I'm saying is, if the first time you seen some weird behavior should have been the only time, right? Because from there you should have been able to step out and be like, hey, this is wrong, and speak up or do what you're doing now. Right? But you clearly was a willing participant in whatever for 16 years. Now, I'm not bashing anybody because I know man and woman can both be victims and not sure how to leave and may feel like it's easier to cooperate to stay, right? Some people, I get it. But I don't know. If you're seeing children being harmed and being mistreated in any capacity, in an SA capacity, in a, you know, just any abuse capacity, say something. Why wait? And then accompany it with a civil lawsuit. I digress.
At Joe, whose real name is Joseph Antonio Cartagena, fired back, calling the suit a blatant act of retaliation. Attorney Joe Tacopina tells E! News in a statement June 20th, the allegations against Mr. Cartagena are complete fabrications, lies intended to damage his reputation and force a settlement through public pressure. Mr. Cartagena will not be intimidated. In Dixon's complaint submitted to court June 19th, he accused Cartagena of exploiting him sexually and financially during his 16-year employment. Dixon alleged Cartagena forced him to perform more than 4,000 sexual acts to maintain his standing in the company, saying in the suit that the alleged stunts were designed to degrade and exert control under the guise of loyalty tests. The lawsuit reads, sexual acts were induced not by choice but by fear, dependency, and fraud. Each encounter carried an unspoken message, refuse and you lose everything. In one alleged instance, the complaint said Dixon's travel plans were abruptly canceled and he was stranded in a foreign country without any money after refusing to participate in a sex act. Fearing financial punishment, professional sabotage, and physical retaliation, the complaint said Dixon often complied with Cartagena's alleged demands, including unpaid labor in songwriting, tour management, and security. During his employment, Dixon alleged that he also witnessed Cartagena engage in sexual relations with children who were 15 and 16 years old. Dixon is seeking up to $20 million in damages for unpaid performance wages, lost per diem, stolen publishing revenue, unpaid royalties, and physical and emotional injuries, according to the lawsuit. However, Cartagena's attorney, Joe Tacopina, tells E! News that Dixon's suit is a desperate attempt to deflect attention from a civil complaint the MC filed in April, accusing Dixon and his lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn, of extortion and slander. Tacopina says, we didn't just...
To me, for example, for him to sue him in April for exploitation, right? Or extortion, I should say. So for him to sue the original hype man and his lawyer, Fat Joe, in April, lets me know that he knew there was some attempt at a lawsuit prior to April. So, and that's what I'm saying, like, especially if you're in a situation where you are in power, in position, got money, got connects, someone's going to tap you in the shoulder like, hey, heads up, this is what they're trying to do, right? And to help you get prepared, help you kind of beat that to the press, clean it up, etc., right? So he knew that this was coming down the pipeline, and he probably was getting prepared. Do you remember when Puffy realized it was going to go down? He started doing certain things like giving people back their publishing and allegedly, giving things over like to his kids for like, inheritance. He was setting things up because he kind of knew something was coming down the line. And then also when he was about to get arrested, he went to New York and did like a farewell tour type of thing and then went to jail. Do y'all remember? So they know celebrities, people in power, even hood people that do things, that do hood things. Hood rat people that do hood rat things will know. Because somebody will tap him on the shoulder, but hey, heads up. Allegedly.
To a disgruntled former employee trying to revive a false claim from 15 years ago, we sued the lawyer behind it all. We have taken legal action to expose this fraudulent campaign and hold everyone involved accountable. E! News has reached out to Dixon's attorney for comment, but hasn't heard back.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So, I'm from the Bronx, and I know exactly where Fat Joe is from. I remember his sister. I think she passed away. God bless, his sister. But she was no joke in them Bronx streets. Okay, Fat Joe was no joke in them Bronx streets, and I'm not BSing. Yes, he's always been a rapper. I remember when he was young, babyface, and he went up to Video Music Box. To me, as a kid, just watching Video Music Box, it's like, yo, who this Puerto Rican dude that just took over the TV station? Because it really looked like he went there and was like, yo, whatever y'all doing, shut it down. I'm here and I'm rapping, and it was a weird hour of Fat Joe early, like as classic footage. If someone got that out there, yo, tag me in it. But classic footage, because I was a kid, he was a kid, Fat Joe, and he took over Video Music Box, and he was just rapping. They play another video, he come back, he's rapping, and I was just like, what is Fat Joe doing? I remember that much going way back. But nonetheless, I am sad to hear that this is a continuing trend that's happening to our celebrities. And in particular, our celebrities in the urban community, in hip hop. It's not good. It's not a good look. All right. But we'll see. We'll see if this is a fruitless deflection to get attention and to deflect off of, is it a countersuit, or does this actual lawsuit have feet and could possibly walk then run? We'll see in the next couple of weeks. But I just kind of wanted to react to what we found out so far. In there, a lot of people didn't highlight it in here, and I saw where 50 Cent was like, damn, I'm sorry to see this happening to Fat Joe. But everybody was like, we don't know if 50 Cent is trolling or if he's really being sincere, because we know they had beef at one point, but they have seemed to made amends since then. And as I just caught in my reaction here, they were chilling as recently as a couple of years ago. So I don't think they have any beef, but how would you feel if allegedly someone is saying that the dude that you was just hanging out with courtside was trying to track your every move at one point in time to go ahead and on a live view. That's crazy. So they didn't really talk about that. So that's good because, 50 Cent does not need any more fuel. But let's see what happens with this. Is it just a fruitless effort, a futile effort to get 20 million out of Fat Joe, or does this have some feet and shall run? We'll see. But you know how I do. You know how I do. You guys join me in the comments and y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll meet you there. And I'm going to leave you with the brand. I'm going to leave you with the motto. If you like anything I do, tell a friend. If you don't like anything I do, tell a friend. And from my lips to your ears, you know I love you. But I need you to show me a little love, all right? So hit that subscribe button, y'all. Hit the subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the share. Hit the comments, all right? Turn on your notifications. And until next time, it's your girl Gangali. It's She Could Talk the Podcast. And I'm out. Peace.